With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive budget beach finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Iberostar Hotels and Resorts and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Shopping for humans is hard. Shopping for your dog is easy, thanks to Bark. Every month, we deliver toys and treats just for your dog. Whether it's fun plush or tough toys for heavy chewers, we spoil all the dogs. Subscribe now and get a free upgrade at barkbox.com/iHeart.
You deserve a moment to yourself every single day. And a delicious bite of a Keebler Sandies can give you that comforting pause. Don't forget to pack the melt-in-your-mouth magic of a Keebler Sandies for a post-lunch pick-me-up. This magic is baked into simple shortbread cookies by Ernie and the Keebler Elves. So as life continues to fly by, make the most of your me moment. Take a pause and enjoy a Keebler Sandies.
Episode 383, Overcoming Emotional Spending with Meghan Dwyer.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are talking about specifically emotional spending. If you were here with us a few weeks ago, we did an episode on the psychological reasons behind why we spend. And one of those was emotional. And we are doing a deep dive into just that one today with our friend Meghan.
Great conversation. Of course, a lot of the more emotional whole person perspective. And with Meghan's background, she brings such an awesome perspective and just some helpful tips, tools, questions we can be asking. Meghan is a certified financial planner, and she hosts the Money Isn't Scary podcast after spending 15 years watching women take a passive role in the management of their money. She's on a mission to help them stop playing small. So she's got so much experience in helping people know all of the ins and outs of what to do, what not to do with their finances, but also has really excellent insight on the other aspects to this bigger picture of why we might be spending the way that we're spending.
But first, this episode is brought to you by the Friendletter.
Ooh.
We have a weekly newsletter that we publish 3 times a week, sent straight to your inbox, where we are helping you overcome all of your overspending, whether it's emotional, impulsive, habitual, mindless, whatever it is. We want to help you spend better and consume less of what doesn't matter so you can afford more of what does. So if that is something that you need help with, then head over to frugalfriendspodcast.com. This newsletter is free. We also share freebies and different spending hacks. We are very much getting into how to afford quality products over cheap quantity and sales, getting swept up by sales on cheap things. So that is really what we're focusing on in the Friendletter. Please, frugalfriendspodcast.com, get the Friendletter. It will very, very much help you on your spending journey.
It'll change your life, really.
I hope.
Just drastically.
That is my hope.
Yeah. Between that, the podcast, following us on social media, life-changing.
Yes, we hope so. So I mentioned at the end of the interview wanting to look into some healthy coping mechanisms, and I did look those up after the interview. So stay around to the outro, and I'm going to quickly run through those after the interview.
Cool. Let's get with Meghan.
Meghan, welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I had such a lovely conversation with you when you did me the honor of coming onto your show. So I'm so glad to have you here talking about a really important topic. And I do want to say, I think we can talk about emotions in such a negative way, and that can be like this socialized thing that happens in our culture. But when our emotions are not helpful with our finances, is kind of what we want to be looking at. And I'm curious for you, Meghan, when it comes to your experiences, your work with clients in the financial space, what have you noticed are some of the patterns, common triggers of emotional spending that maybe isn't the most beneficial for their finances?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think really anything that can be stressful or uncomfortable, or that we're really using coping as kind of that we're really using spending as kind of a coping mechanism or a quick fix to feel better in the moment, is something that we see a lot, right? I see this with myself personally. I have get overwhelmed and stressed out, full-time working mom, 2 young kids. And I find that it's like more socially acceptable to go to Target when you're feeling overwhelmed than it is to like go to a bar or something like that. So I think emotional spending sort of gets a more of a like a positive reputation in our culture. But I think these are all kind of common triggers, and it's situational. It's different in everybody's life, everybody's life. So some of those feelings, right, that we get can be, like I just said, overwhelm, sadness, fear. It can be boredom. It can be stress. It can be even jealousy. And then there are some positive emotions that can also be triggers for spending. And that can be, I don't know, excitement, or like you're proud of something or you want to celebrate, right? So I think it really could be anything, honestly, that are triggers. And it's all about sort of knowing yourself. There's also, interestingly enough, there's also some behavioral health conditions that people can be sort of more predisposed to impulse spending, right, than others. So things like addiction or a substance misuse, ADHD is a really common one, anxiety, depression, certain personality disorders. So those are things that may, if that's something that you identify with or you kind of resonate with, that you may want to think about, how am I impulsively reacting when it comes to spending, or when I'm out shopping.
Mm-hmm. And you as a certified financial planner work with clients who are like higher net worth and higher income. And so like, how do you see the more money you have, does the emotional spending, does the impulse spending like become less of an impact? Or like, what do you notice in your clients or when you're around the water cooler with other CFPs? Like, what should we, who is maybe like not multimillionaires and want to be, what should we know about how spending happens at the higher net worths?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, everybody, it doesn't really matter how much money you have. I think deep down, emotional spending is really a very personal issue, right? It comes from it comes from emotions, and emotions are something that is universal. We're human, we're not robots, right? So every single person is going to have emotions, and big feelings and things that are going on in our lives that, like I just said, elicit those big feelings in their lives. I think that the higher net worth you have, the less that emotional spending tends to be an issue. And that's only because cash flow may not be as big of an issue, right? If you have more income coming in, then what's going out may not be as important. We don't necessarily look at when I'm doing this work for clients, we don't necessarily look at where the money is going. We're looking at trends in spending. So we can see what's coming in when we look at kind of pre and post tax dollars, and then what is going out. So that's really my job as a financial planner, is to take that data and then sort of project forward, how is the spending sustainable on a long-term basis. But that doesn't really, where the dollars go is really where we're kind of getting at here. So on, maybe the average person, right, that may not have quite as high of an income or a net worth, the issue really comes down to to where the dollars are going. And is this sustainable for you in your everyday life, right? And if it's not, and that's when we identify that there might be an issue and there might be something that needs to be worked on. Now, the other piece to this too is, yes, there's the numbers. There is, hey, what's coming in and what's going out. And then there's also the emotional reaction to it. So if you're buying something and you feel so much guilt and shame and maybe overwhelm after that purchase, then that's a huge kind of red flag that something is off. So that's where I think we need to kind of like focus on those two things, regardless of what your net worth is or what your kind of cash flow situation is.
I think it's encouraging in part to me to hear that there's benefit to working on some of these more internal pieces of our behaviors and thoughts and actions and habits around our spending, around how we manage our emotions, regardless of the amount of money that we make, because it doesn't really matter. A lot of times it's not, I need to make more. Oftentimes it's, I need to learn more about myself and refine the things that are going to point me towards more well-being and benefit. And then more money could help us. But until we kind of know ourselves and are able to spend on our values and cope with life's difficulties in ways that are beneficial, then the money doesn't have much to do with that. But we can hurt ourselves financially.
Yeah. I think it's also encouraging is like, if you're coming up in your career or you're pursuing a higher level of income, knowing that, but just putting into perspective, like while I work on this, I also need to be working on the internal stuff of why I'm spending money. Because yes, I want to make more money. Making more money does make these things less of a burden, but less of a financial burden and not less of an emotional burden. Like it is still an unhealthy way to cope with emotions or celebrate emotions. Like spending money is still an unhealthy way to do that. So like, while it might have less of a financial impact at a higher income, it still doesn't meet the need. It is still just a treadmill that leads nowhere.
Absolutely. You're still not getting to the root of the issue. There's still something else going on here, and spending, buying yourself something to fill that void. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about specific emotions. I found while doing research for this episode, this study from LendingTree. It's 2,000 U.S. consumers. It passes my study test. It does pass my standard. And it's a financial survey, a general financial survey from a financial company, which also, it's not skewed, but it's like targeted. So, and they say 69% of Americans say their emotions have influenced their spending. And what really surprised me was that the survey found that overall Americans are more likely to spend when they're in a positive mood, but some still seek retail therapy. So it said almost half of Americans have made a purchase in an attempt to improve their mood, with women much more likely to do so than men, at least vocally. But people, and it lists down here the different reasons people have said that they spend. So 50% say stress is the top. So that is number one. But the next one was excitement. 44% said they shop because they're excited. So like maybe you got a new job. Maybe you're excited to go on vacation. Like all these things, excitement. And then happiness. You're just in a good mood. Like you're feeling yourself and you want to buy some new makeup or something. So I was really surprised to see that a lot of people spend out of, we knew this, but I didn't know how high the statistics skewed toward positive emotions. So let's kind of start there. What are some of the ways that maybe you've experienced or seen in your practice, like some of the ways people can curb their spending when they're spending out of these positive emotions or want to celebrate something?
Yeah. And it's funny, like, let's think about that. We, a family and I, we just booked a trip over the winter. I live in Boston, so we wanted to go somewhere warm. So of course, my brain starts thinking like, well, I need to get a bathing suit. I need to get new sandal, and I need to get stuff from my kids and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I hear you. Like I guess it's that anticipatory excitement around it. And then same thing, like I think about the celebratory, right? Like, wow, I just, maybe I got a promotion, or I just nailed that interview, or I did something like so great, right, at work. And it's like, you want to celebrate yourself for it, right? So what do? We go out to dinner, and this is again, like, this is just kind of cultural things that we've been taught, right? We go out to dinner, or we go treat ourselves to, I don't know, a new pair of shoes or something like that, that makes us feel good. Oftentimes we can also say, hey, coffee on me this morning, or I'll buy bagels for the whole office, or something like that, right? And I want to get across that there's nothing wrong with that. Like in my mind, and this is going to be probably radical, I really think that all spending is emotional. I think that we are taught that emotions in our culture are a bad thing. I think emotions are actually a really good thing, because they're telling us things. They're telling us things that we need to know. So if we actually can kind of listen to our emotions, we recognize that there's something that goes a little deeper here that maybe we need to dig into. And money is emotional. Like there's no way around it. You can say it's not, but of course it is, because money helps us to feel all the things that we want in life, right? Like security, safety, being able to take care of our kids and our families, and or being taken care of ourselves. So there's like some kind of core, I think, like foundational level emotions that you can't deny, and just denying it isn't going to get us anywhere, right? So money is emotional. How we earn money is emotional, and how we spend money is emotional. But when it comes to the positive, we tend to think of like the emotional spending as the negative, right? And that's what we were just getting into. But the positive stuff we almost like brush off, we brush aside. So what are some strategies, that you can kind of work with around those positive emotions? Like maybe instead of, going out to dinner and spending $150, maybe you just make a special dinner at home. You can go to the grocery store, you can get the ingredients and make something at home. And that saves a good amount of money there. And I love this, what I'm going to say, because this is the financial planner in me. I love thinking about like your future self versus your current self. So instead of saying like, hey, I just got that promotion, why don't I go buy myself a new pair of shoes, right? These super cute shoes, or this bag that I've been eyeing. Why don't you make an investment in yourself instead? So maybe make a contribution to your IRA, or, create, put a deposit into, I don't know, your kid's 529 or something like that. I think we forget that, that there is a future self, because we get so caught up in the moment and the emotions feel so strong in that moment. But there's plenty of ways to kind of like slow down. Like that's the biggest thing, especially for women and moms, which is kind of more my audience, is we're on this treadmill constantly. And we're just feeling like everything coming at us. And we don't take the time to just slow down and actually feel what is going on here. What is happening? And what do I really want? And think about not only future you, or not only current you, but future you as well.
I do think it's so important to be able to attach action to something that is going on in our life circumstances, especially when it comes to celebrating. I know Jen and I talk a lot about often flying past accomplishments or things that have happened in life that are celebratory. I can especially understand why we'd want to make a monetary action when we get a raise. Here's a way to celebrate the fact that I can afford to go out. So I think there even can be times where it does cost us money and we're okay with that, but we're always talking about, but where does it become non-beneficial for us? And so I think some of the foundations that you're laying are really helpful for us to think through. Will this help me or hurt me in both the short term and the long term? Is there a way that I can celebrate that's going to feel really good? It doesn't mean it doesn't have to cost money. It could mean going out to dinner, but would I be just as happy if I stayed at home too, but was still able to attach action to this thing just happened? It's worth putting a pause on and ritualizing it in some way that I can feel really good about.
Yeah. And the thing I'll add to that too is it doesn't have to be so black and white. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I always think like in this all or nothing kind of mindset. So I have to kind of coach myself out of it. But I really think that, yeah, it doesn't have to be to one extreme or the other. You could still spend money. You could still, buy something for yourself if you really want to. And I don't want you to think that you can't, right? Because that's totally okay. It just has to be within something that feels good for you. And you'll know if it doesn't feel good. Your body will tell you that, your emotions, because you'll have feelings. There might be guilt. It might be shame, whatever it is, or discomfort, or something will come up and tell you that, hey, this doesn't feel right. But if it's within your means and it's something that feels good to you in this moment and it's, not that expensive, cool, do it. I don't want to discourage somebody from not celebrating or doing something that is important to them.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to start with the positive emotion aspect, because unfortunately it happens so much less than the stress emotion.
Yeah.
And we do tend to gloss over, and we should celebrate more. We should celebrate more achievements, celebrate smaller achievements. And I think we should memorialize them in some way. Usually that way can cost money. And I loved, Meghan, your suggestion of, instead of going out to eat, maybe making something at home. But it doesn't have to be that. Like, people are going to have different standards of celebration, right? Some people's celebration is like a $500 dinner at a really nice restaurant. And so maybe if that's not in the budget you have, because sometimes we want to celebrate outside of the capacity that we are already earning, fit something into it. So maybe it's just a less nice restaurant. It doesn't have to be a dinner at home. Or maybe like Carrabba's is your idea of a nice restaurant. And so maybe right now in your capacity, that means, okay, maybe I'm not going to spend the money at that restaurant, but maybe I'm going to splurge at the grocery store on the Wagyu like beef steaks that I would normally not get. And that's going to be my celebration. So it's not spending on these celebratory things. I think we also have to put them into perspective too, because like if you've got 19 credit cards with like $100 and you pay off, 8 credit cards in a month, you're not going out to dinner 8 times in a month probably. That's probably like too much. But if you get a raise and you really fought for that raise, it's not just like your 3%, then that can be like a heightened celebration. So I think it's also good to kind of prioritize like what are my goals and how am I going to celebrate each. So that might be like, and it also forces you to celebrate them, right?
Yes.
It forces you can't just gloss over it. And then really like you feel how significant a success is too.
Yeah. And because it's something different, right? So if it's, you don't want to do the same things that you always do. Like for me, going to Target is something that I talk about a lot on my show, and how I have this love-hate relationship with Targets. But if I'm using going to Target as a reward for doing something great, then what is it every other? It almost like devalues, right? Like
if it's a reward for getting your kids to school, then that's probably something to pay attention to.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that like also we need to, it's important to maybe list out what are ways to celebrate. So we don't kind of automatically go back to that default, right? So what are ways that I can celebrate myself, right? Which again, I feel like is something where we need to slow down and recognize like what's going to feel good to me. And you're the only one that can answer that, unfortunately. That I think culture tells us what self-care is and what celebrations should be, right? The champagne and all that stuff. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way for you, right? It's like everybody has their own definition of it and how we actually take that into action.
I appreciate your radical perspective on all spending is emotional, and it really is just defining what is going to be best for each one of us when it comes to the ways we implement and understand our emotions when it comes to our spending behaviors. And so the flip side of celebration and happiness and really good things happening is some of what we've touched on a bit of overwhelm and fear and stress and anxiety and jealousy, and some of these quote unquote negative emotions are not as comfortable emotions, and how that can lead us to spend.
37,025, 1. These are the 3 numbers to remember to get the visibility and control you need to make the right business decisions instantly. 37,000. That's the number of businesses which have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25. NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less. Close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down expenses. 1. Because your business is one of a kind. So you get a customized solution for all of your KPIs in one efficient system with one source of truth. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need to grow, all in one place. Right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist, designed to give you consistently excellent performance, absolutely free, at netsuite.com/stereo. That's netsuite.com/stereo to get your own KPI checklist. netsuite.com/stereo.
Hey guys, it's Rich Davis from Covino and Rich, and it's a great day to venture out into a spacious and capable Toyota SUV, like a new RAV4. With available all-wheel drive, it could go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger and cargo space, you'll go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 will keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander. With seating for up to 8, it's a hub for family adventure. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander could save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
Are there any different techniques or tips that you have found for your clients or from your clients that work when it comes to if my spending is primarily triggered by those types of emotions?
Honestly, I think we're getting at sort of the same ultimate thing, right? Which is knowing yourself. So I think the application of how to, like, that comes later, how to stop spending or curb your spending. But I think we need to really hop off the treadmill, slow down, dig beneath the surface to see what actually is going on here, right? Because I think the answer to not spending is going to look different depending on what the need is, right? So what is that void? What is it? And this is something, again, that can be so hard for women to do, especially when you're just overwhelmed and there's so much coming at you. I started my podcast in 2020, and I was, at the time, my husband had lost his job. I was working full-time from home, and I had a 3 and a 1-year-old at home. And I found myself online shopping because there was nowhere to go, right? I couldn't go to stores, and I was trying to make myself feel better. I was trying to fill this void, essentially. And then I would start to feel this guilt and shame because those things would sit in my closet with the tags on, and I would never use them because I had nowhere to go. But then I'd almost like crave crave spending more, crave more shopping, even though it wasn't the thing that was going to solve my problem. And this is what I always say. It's never the thing. It's never the object. It's the feeling behind the thing. So I started this podcast because I knew I couldn't have been alone during that time. I think a lot of us were struggling during that time. And I really wanted to figure out with myself what was going on. And I know that, and I made it a public thing because I wanted other women to be able to relate to it as well and know that they're not alone in this. And so, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of big feelings going on at that time. And I think some of the big ones and the big themes there were connection, appreciation, feeling overwhelmed, feeling scared, feeling anxiety. There was a lot of things. And I discovered that kind of like episode by episode and through kind of journaling and getting it out, right, that there was more beneath the surface, right? So it wasn't buying the J. Crew headband and the new sneakers and stuff. That was not going to solve the issue. It was peeling back those layers and figuring out what was really underneath. And I feel like, again, for so many women, there's so many of those overwhelming emotions that come up. And it's not just the emotions, because I feel like the emotions are a reflection of the time that we're in and the circumstances and the situation that we're dealing with. There's also beliefs underneath that. So what are the beliefs that I have and how are those impacting how I'm feeling right now? And a lot of that, especially when it comes to money and everything, comes from how we grew up. And so there's kind of the two pieces. There's how we grew up, and then there's also the culture that we live in too, and how we kind of live in this materialistic and consumerism culture that's encouraging us to spend and kind of preying off of our insecurities and our emotions and saying, spend more, right? Because this is going to solve your problems. When really it's not. I'm just going to say it. It's not. So unfortunately, there is no, in my mind, quick fix to this, right? There's no quick fix to all of a sudden stop spending money or start spending money differently. It's a process. It's a journey to self-awareness and really getting to know how you operate, right? And what are those core beliefs and what are some of those things that I want to maybe, change.
Such a tough one, because when we're feeling uncomfortable emotions, one of the last things we want to do is uncomfortable work of what those emotions are attached to.
Yep.
Usually our go-to coping mechanisms are some sort of escape. And that can help for a time. But eventually, I think we're all going to find ourselves in a place where we recognize that what we tried to fill the void with didn't actually meet the need. The void is still there, but now I have spent more than I wanted to. I've collected things that are still stressing me out. And I think it's only until we kind of get to that point a couple of times that then we see the fruit, the benefit of, all right, I'll do some of the uncomfortable things, because that might get me closer to actually finding what's going to meet my need here. I think we avoid it because we think it's just all going to be discomfort. But to find that eventually we do learn more about ourselves and we can find activities and ways of relating that more closely connect to the deeper need. And we can feel more satisfied and at peace and content for the long term than some of these quick fixes that continuously lead us on this cycle.
Yes.
Yeah. All that to say, I'm curious, Meghan, you've talked a lot about doing some of that deeper work, getting to know yourself. Are there a couple of questions, like your kind of top of mind, that either you go through or you recommend to clients when they are wanting to know what it's attached to? Like what can we be asking ourselves in those moments?
Yeah. I mean, there's some good ones. So I think if you're struggling right now, again, finding kind of a quiet space and just saying, okay, how am I feeling? What is it that I'm feeling? And I write it down, identify. And there is, I think people forget, right, that there's more than just like 3 emotions. It's not just sad. It's not just overwhelmed. There's a whole list of emotions out there. You can Google it. There's a whole list
Get yourself a good emotions wheel.
Exactly. Yes. There's a lot of emotions that help you very much narrow in and identify what it is that you're feeling, right? So what is it that I'm feeling? And how do I guess one of the other questions that I would say is, how do I want to feel? And this is something that women, especially, again, I feel like don't take the time to work through. So I'm feeling this right now and, I'm going through it. I'm having a really tough time, but how do I want to feel instead? Right? Instead of feeling, overwhelmed and stressed out and I'm not in control of my own life, right? How do I want to feel? I want to feel at ease. I want to feel peace, right? These are things that, again, we don't really talk about, or we don't imagine, we don't envision, because we just don't see it in our reality, right? So what is it? Is it pent up energy, or is it connection that I'm craving, or what is it, right? What is it that I'm feeling right now? And what do I want to feel? And what's that gap in between, right? How do I get myself there? And again, only you can do that. But I really encourage small incremental action. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you want to feel, if you have this pent up energy and you want to feel connected, go for a walk with a friend, or, just go for a walk by yourself, get that energy out, and then come back and call a friend or something. Little things like that we can sort of back into. And I think by asking yourself these questions, we can sort of come up with a toolbox of tools, tricks that we can use when we're in those moments, when we're struggling.
What have you found in your journey from being in that place in 2020 and using online shopping as your coping mechanism to now? What do you feel like for you and your story has kind of helped you bridge the gap the most?
Definitely the self-awareness. I will now take the time to pause when I'm struggling. We just had a morning at my house, and it's a weekend, it's a Saturday morning. And then, I have a few minutes to myself. I'm like, I just need a break. I really will, instead of just default driving to Target or driving to the mall or something like that, I'll sit in the car and I'll take a few deep breaths, and I will literally go through that in my head. And I will ask myself, what do I need right now? What am I feeling? How do I want to feel? And what's going to help me? That helps me back into how to spend that hour that I have to myself. And again, maybe it is driving to the mall, but maybe it's just walking around. And sometimes I do, honestly, I think it's fun to just window shop too, fully knowing I'm not going to shop, because I just like to see what's going on. And for me, it's kind of fun. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go spend a bunch of money that I didn't intentionally want to buy, right? And it just forces me to slow down. Again, I also journal. That's something that I do. If I'm really having a hard time, I will just pull out a piece of paper, and I don't do it in a formal journal necessarily, but I pull out a piece of paper and I'm just what's going on? Because it allows me to get all those feelings that are inside me physically out somewhere. And I usually feel better afterwards. And I'm like, okay, now I can come back to this in a different place.
Yeah, connecting with yourself.
Yeah, it helps for the rest of the day too. Doing work and being present for your kids and for your coworkers, not just in the money saving aspect of not spending to cope, but if you want to show up better in your relationships, having these alternative coping mechanisms, and you can definitely Google coping mechanisms as well, in addition to your emotions wheel. But having these alternative coping mechanisms helps in so many other aspects.
What you're describing, Meghan, to me seems like the difference between playing darts with a blindfold on or a blindfold off. Don't get me wrong, I'm bad either way. I will make holes in your wall, put up cork around it. But it's like throwing a dart and not knowing even where remotely the bullseye is versus I can at least see it. I know what I'm aiming at. Is that difference between checking in with myself? What is my need? What's it attached to? And is there a way that I can meet that need that is more focused on where the need lies? Sometimes we just go to spending and shopping because maybe it has worked in the past, but it's shopping, buying something impulsively is not actually going to solve my my relational need that I'm feeling as a result of tension that's going on with close friends. That's going to come from a relational reorientation and connecting with people. Shopping's never going to meet that. But if we don't take the time to ask ourselves, where's this coming from, then we will find ourselves on that never-ending cycle.
Spot on. It is matching the solution to the need, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you know what else matches a solution with a need? It hits the bullseye every single time, blindfolded or not.
Definitely a healthy coping mechanism.
The Bill of the Week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the Bill of the Week.
Megan, every week we invite our listeners and our guests to share with us their bill for the week. And we would love to hear yours today.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to share this. It is my very last daycare bill ever.
Oh, get out of here. Bye.
It was, so my youngest, I have two boys that are 7 and 5, and my youngest started kindergarten this past fall. And when I no longer had that auto debit from his preschool coming out, it was like the best day of my life.
One day. I almost got there. But one day, I too will be there.
Yeah. Kids get older. They get older faster. That's amazing.
Daycare, man.
It's such a good feeling.
For you. Good
Anyone
for you.
who has kids is like, oh my God, it's like you just got the biggest raise of your life.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I purposely waited to only pay for daycare for one child at a time. So literally just swapped them out. But still, like, an infant is more expensive than a 2+-year-old. So it did cost me more for daycare, but only for a few years.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to do with that influx of cash?
Oh, I've already allocated for it. I mean, I'm socking it away.
Nice.
No,
in a 529 or an
thinking
IRA?
about your future self.
Honestly, I'm putting it in cash at the moment because there's so much stuff that the kids need with we're right now we've got camps coming up, camp expenses for the summer, which is crazy. There's always something. So it's a small amount, but I feel like it's what goes in goes out when it comes to the kids. So I just want to have something there in an account that I can pull from when I need it. And of course, interest rates are pretty competitive right now. So it's not a bad place to just park it in cash.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you all listening have a bill that you want to share, if it's about the very final last daycare bill, because your kids are getting older and it's a good thing, they're getting smarter and wiser. Or if your name is Bill and you run a daycare. Or just a bill you don't mind paying. Whatever it is, visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill. Leave us your bill.
Hey guys, it's Ray from the Bobby Bones Show, and it's a great day to venture out in a spacious and capable Toyota SUV like a new RAV4. That's what I'm talking about. Available all-wheel drive. It can go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger space and cargo space, you're going to go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 is going to keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander with seating up to 8. It's a hub for the family adventure. Let's go. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander can save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. Don't wait. Why wait? Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with cheap Caribbean vacations means you have more freedom. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book using our exclusive budget beach finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun at cheapcaribbean.com. That's cheapcaribbean.com.
And now it's time for the lightning round.
All right. So in today's lightning round, Megan, you kind of went into this question a little bit. So we're going to vary it up a little. So the question is, how do you tell the difference between what you truly need and what you impulsively want? But I would love for us to share. Here you go.
True vulnerability when she's just pulling it out of thin air.
Pulling it out of thin air, right? We have an outline, but it's loose. What was your last positive emotional impulse buy? Positive.
Yeah, I just talked about it. We booked a trip to Florida. And
Yes.
I live in Boston, and we booked a trip, and that was intentional. That was not impulsive. Like, we had planned to do that. I had money saved for that. All good. But yeah, I mean, then I decided that I was going to go to, again, I said I went to Target, and I didn't at that time because I was with my son go and get a new bathing suit. But however, I did, when I came home, ordered it online because I had a discount code. So
Yes.
You go next. Any more time?
Okay, good, because I have mine. It was also not impulsive, and it was not the last one. I'm sure that in the last 9 months 8 or 9 months I have. But my favorite one, maybe of last year, was on my birthday when we got a book deal and we went out to celebrate with margaritas and chips and salsa. And that purchase was a celebration, half my birthday, half of getting the book deal.
Amazing.
And I loved spending money on all those margaritas and
you know
chips.
what, though? We got affordable quality over cheap quantity in
Happy
that
hour.
one because we went at happy hour. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Although we also got quantity.
Yeah, we did get quantity. We got both. And that's where you really go right.
Was it endless chips and salsa?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
you
Yes.
betcha.
You can't
You're
go
not
wrong
going
with
to
that.
find us at a non-endless chips and salsa
You're not going to find us there. If
establishment.
they don't include endless chips and salsa, you won't find us there.
If you don't sell pictures of margarita at happy hour, you also won't find us there.
And you know what, though? I love that answer because you don't regret a thing about
Nope.
it. It sounds like you are so proud of doing that. And that's what this is all about, right?
And if we're going to talk about ways we saved money on it, I had my husband drop me off so I wouldn't have to Uber.
There you go. There you go.
Having your
right.
man drop you off in front of the Mexican restaurant
Yeah.
so you can have endless chips and salsa and pitchers of margs.
It's perfect.
That was
It
a
sounds
good
amazing.
day.
That
We
was
gotta
great.
we gotta accomplish something else.
We have to
Go
finishing the
celebrate.
book, Jill. Finishing it.
Ugh, I want something before that.
All right, Jill, you have had your time.
Okay. I guess it was emotional. I don't know. I should be a more attached person than I am, probably. So the last time I spent money was around the holidays. Eric and I decided that we would, instead of getting gifts for each other, we would go shopping, which is not a super common activity for us. But I had been putting money aside for Christmas. And so we had money in the bank, and this is how we chose to spend it. But some things I had written down of this is what I want. And other times I just let myself make an impulsive decision on what stood out to me in the moment. One of those things are the pants that I am not wearing today.
Oh my God,
but
I was hoping you were
have
going to
been
say
wearing
that.
pretty much every day of last week and this week.
I literally looked down and I was like, oh, you're not wearing the pants.
I know.
You're getting your money's worth, though. I love it.
I am. That's the thing about me. When I buy something, I use it all up.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up these pair of pants and I'm like, well, they are my size. They are the specifications of what I'm looking for. But this is a lot of fabric. Truly, I tried it on just because I wanted to know what they were going for. Like I said that out loud. I'm like, I got to know what they're even trying to do with this amount of fabric. And it ended up being the only thing that I bought at the store.
And now her personality is these pants.
Yes.
You're
and she
owning
wore
it,
them
though.
every day last week. And
I love that.
Gosh darn it, if they don't look comfortable.
And you know what?
And good.
There you
They
go.
look good.
It is an emotional choice because they made me happy.
Yeah.
And they do still make me happy.
Yeah.
And that's a topic that I feel like, again, can money make you happy? I think it can, to an extent. I think it all depends, right? I mean, I think it can in the short term, and that's what it's doing for you, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's not going to make all your problems go away. But having these pair of pants makes you feel confident and good. That's great.
Yeah. And I feel good about the purchase because I had set the money aside. So I think, even to your point, all of our spending is emotional. I had the money to spend, but I still purchased based on somewhat informed by my emotion. How does this make me feel? Do I want to buy it? And that's an example of where our emotions can be helpful when it comes to spending.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I think the true lesson that we've learned today is dopamine isn't happiness, but pants are. And
totally.
Buy the trip
money
to
buys
Florida,
pants.
drink the margs at happy hour, and get the pants with more fabric than you know what to do with.
Just plan for it.
And plan for it.
Yes. Budget for it. And if you're going to be impulsive about it, budget for impulsivity. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my. Well,
I love
Megan, we've had a blast with you. Can you tell us where people can get more from you?
Yeah. So you can check out my website, which is moneyisn'tscary.com. And you can also check out the podcast, Money Isn't Scary, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And I also am on social media. So Instagram, Facebook, all at Money Isn't Scary. And I am also have a Facebook group, the Mindful Money Mamas, which is where I am a little bit more intimate with people and am trying to just gather a community of women that are all looking to create a healthy relationship with money.
Love that. We're here for some alliteration. Thanks for being here, Megan.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness. That was fun. I had fun with Megan. Also, I really love her reframe about all spending being emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps to take some of the guilt out of this being an emotional person seen as a negative thing. We are all emotional people. They play into all aspects of our lives, and there are helpful, beneficial ways of managing our emotions and recognizing them, and non-beneficial. And it's not as if we detach ourselves from our emotions to make the best financial decisions. Our emotions can be informative when making the best financial decisions. And that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I loved how she made it a safe space to be an emotional person. I really hate when emotions are vilified professionally in the business world. I think that it really is a weapon against women. So viewing people as emotional and valuing emotions, I think it helps us celebrate things like our accomplishments, and it helps us cope better. So we mentioned coping mechanisms, and the pausing and the asking of the questions that Megan said was really great. It was one of these like healthy coping mechanisms. Whereas shopping tends to be the unhealthy. So I just wanted to tell you about the 5 that I found on goodtherapy.org. And Jill has allowed me to say them. So the first is support. So talking about a stressful event with a supportive person. So that's something we talked about in the episode. That is an actual thing that is science-backed that does help with coping. I think some of these we read them on the internet and we're like, oh, sure, that's really easy for you to say, but really impractical to do. But I think hearing them from an actual like therapy website and me like, oh gosh, okay, it is an actually science-backed thing that if I paid to go see a therapist, they would probably tell me to do. Maybe I should try it. So support relaxation. So relaxing activities like meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, or other calming techniques. So that's, again, Meghan sitting in her car, taking the deep breaths. That's another coping mechanism. Problem solving. So this involves identifying a problem that is causing stress and then developing and putting into action some potential solutions. So when we were talking in our episode on psychological reasons we impulse spend, making that list of these are the things that I'm going to do when I am celebrating positive emotions. These are the things I'm going to do when I'm feeling negative emotions. That's that problem-solving coping mechanism. Humor, this one we love, making light of a stressful situation. That can teeter into unhealthy, so just be aware of that. And then also physical activity. Exercise can serve as a natural and healthy form of stress relief. That can also sometimes teeter into unhealthy. So those are the 5 coping mechanisms that this therapy website recommends.
Yes, all of them can be so helpful. So try them out, see what works for you. And thanks for listening, everybody. We had a blast with you along with us. Thanks for listening. We also love reading your reviews. That's something else we have a blast doing. We especially like this one from Akwujix.
I'm so glad you got to read that. That's just letters. But that is, I think, how I would pronounce it.
How you'd pronounce it, I think. They said, love this, the best financial podcast I have found. Jen and Jill keep me entertained while teaching me all the financial tips. Some of these tips I didn't even know I needed. Thank you, ladies.
So thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or both. It helps potential new listeners know what they're getting into. So if they're not into healthy coping mechanisms, then this might not be the place for them.
See you next week.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni.
So, Jen. Before No Spend January, you and I shot a lot of B-roll together, which is basically video where you're not going to hear us talking, but we might put our voices over top of it or music over top of it.
Usually text.
Yep. That then goes out on social media. So you can see our faces, but we can still be giving you content there. One of the things that we did was go to the thrift store and kind of show how we were shopping at the thrift store, how we're using our color palette to find the clothing that we might be looking for.
I don't think we bought anything though.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did?
We bought the shirt that I wore yesterday and I did.
Oh.
I mean, Frugal Friends bought it because it was a business expense. I got a red sweatshirt that was in my color palette and a blue linen shirt that was also in my color palette. However, in the B-roll video, I am now realizing I don't think you've used it yet, so maybe this mistake will be unrecognized. But only after purchasing it did I realize that when I first tried it on and you took video of me with it on, that I had it on backwards. It has buttons all down the center of it, vertically down the center. And I thought, and buttons that don't work, they're more aesthetic. And I thought that they go in the front because generally that's where buttons would go.
Yeah.
So I put the shirt on in the front, thought it was cute, purchased it because I liked it, got home, realized that's where the tag is. Them buttons are supposed to be in the back. Still like it. That is how I wear it now. But
Interesting.
If that little video of me ever comes up and I'm wearing a blue linen shirt with buttons down the front, that's backwards.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll make sure that makes it up onto the internet. By the time you listen to this, it probably will be somewhere on our Instagram.
The whole world is upside down.
You know what else is upside down? All the people on your blouse right now. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. There's no way to turn it the other way.
Well, I know, but like it's printed upside down.
Yeah. Well, not to me, because I'm able to look down from my vantage point and see the people.
But
they look right side up.
I look at your arm the whole time we're recording, just looking at these people being upside down, just holding hands.
Well, it's artistic
with their feet in the air.
I'm giving elementary school art teacher with this
you really
button
are
down.
You very much are. You're
love
giving
it.
very Gulfport vibes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh, I'll take it.
Yeah, I like it. And those trees are right side up though. That's art right there.
Mm-hmm.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book using our exclusive budget beach finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun at cheapcaribbean.com. That's cheapcaribbean.com.
You deserve to treat yourself, so turn your tax refund into a U fund and give yourself a Straight Talk Wireless Extended Silver Unlimited plan and get a new Samsung Galaxy A14 on them. You can get a great everyday value on wireless with Straight Talk's Unlimited plan starting at $25 a line per month for 4 lines. You'll save so much you'll be enjoying that refund all year long. It's the refund that keeps on refunding. Find Straight Talk at straighttalk.com or at your local Walmart store.
Taxes and fees not included. Offer valid through 4/14/24 while supplies last. Online only. Must purchase a Straight Talk Extended Silver Unlimited plan to qualify. Limit of 5 phones per customer. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Not combinable with autopay discount.
Land.com can help you find that little patch of ground to call your own and do all the hunting, fishing, and hanging out with the family you want. Just know that getting your own piece of land is something that can generate memories for generations, but also has the ability to generate income in both the near and long term. Like if you just want to start a rental business / family compound. Go to Land.com and check out the hundreds of thousands of rural listings from all across America. Enough dreaming about it. Land.com is a place to find and invest in your open space.